Old Capmeister, I have a happy request. This just put a smile on my face because it's so perfect. It's so simple. It's so important. And it saves me effing time. Anonymous writes, Cappy, short question. What will all these HR and CSR and diversity ladies do post collapse? I'm going to keep you anonymous. And where do I want to be? Okay, let us start out. I'm the old Capmeister jokes, and he's a little risque, a little radical, and it's all joking. He doesn't really mean kill the children, which I don't, because I actually like kids. Kids want to help. But I want any of you worthless HR ladies or you CSR, diversity, whatever, I want you to know, and everybody else to know, that I'm 100% sincere when I say the words that are going to be coming out of my mouth. You people are, I don't even know previous. I really wonder, maybe of all time, you are one of the most disastrous things to society. And the reason I say that is that all of production, all standards of living come from real production, not saving the children or changing lives and preventing the whales or whatever it is. Some of your nonprofit sisters going, you're the private sector, touchy feel good people, whatever your nonprofit sisters. You ladies predominantly, though there is some men in the field too, you have prevented so much genuine economic growth, economic production, gross domestic product. You have prevented so much standards of living and thriving and production and progress within society because you're wrong. You're wrong. I don't know why this, and HR ladies are on the way out. They're outsourcing this stuff. It's more compliance and employment law now. I don't know why my generation specifically had to suffer during the 80s, the 90s, and the aughts, your witchcraft and your BS. But we did. And in that 3 decades of time, you almost guaranteed the best person was not hired for the job, and you could have plugged in Bill Gates at this moment in time. And because, frankly, your little witchcraft, your egos, you had to make it believe like you had a real science or you had a real profession. Well, we did this. I mean, it was not even into the 90s. Not even the 80s, it was in the 90s. They were still doing handwriting analysis. They thought that was a thing. And people were given jobs of importance or jobs that weren't important, but it would have gotten you in. And then this man or woman who was perfectly qualified would have rose to the ranks and could have truly revolutionized. Like, because there's an exponential potential where like you get the right person at the right time, and they would have like took a company from 10 million to $1 billion in sales. But Karen in HR didn't like your shoes. Literally, that was it. How did you answer the question if you could be an animal? Well, I could go through all the different types of questions I got from the veritable bins and rejects and tards. These ladies, again, mean this 100%, truly inferior people asking me BS questions who knew nothing about my profession because you didn't have a profession. And I remember watching reading a study by Mercer, which was the HR industry, blah, 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 blah. And there was no correlate. There was none, no predictability, none with your interviews, with your methods of selecting people. That for that 3 decades in US, and I don't know where else, I'm sure Europe and other places, but 3 decades, you filter this unnecessary and wrong, completely wrong, a damaging filter where you let the scumbags in, you kept all the high quality people out. I don't know why people decided to let you worthless, inferior people into HR to judge who and who could not come into the company or the labor, be plugged into the system and the machinery that would go and produce future economic production because you didn't like his tie or you didn't like she was hotter than you or whatever. BS. unprovable BS, the veritable witchcraft you predominantly ladies employed. But you at least shaved off 1% GDP, just a rough estimate. I mean, come on, you girls go with things that don't have any correlation coefficient with actual, but so why don't I just make, statistics out of my ass? All right. Why don't I just do it? But I would say because of the dramatic loss of meritocracy, efficiency, excellence, you HR ladies from the 80s to the aughts cost the United States 1% GDP per year, exponentially. We're talking 10% GDP by now. If I had to do the rough math, I know math is not your specialty, ladies. It's not, because HR is about feelings. Oh my goodness, Tina, I didn't. Oh shit! I mean, how many of you HR gals? Oh, he's a Scorpio. Really? I want to know how much you want to bet. You damn well know there was some guy, some gal that didn't get the job because the HR lady, Karen in HR, like, he's a Pisces. Oh no, Pisces wouldn't go well. Now, thankfully, I don't know why it took 3 decades, but it took a virus to prove that we didn't need to commute anymore. So I don't know how slow and dumb corporate America. Well, I actually do know how slow and dumb corporate America. They're so slow and dumb. It took 30 years to get you gals out of there and just go deal with employment law and payroll. And now it's all outsourced. But I don't think I could tally a 10% GDP. We're talking $2 trillion. Amortized over 3 decades times, we're talking tens of trillions of lost economic potential because you gals, you worthless, veritable scum. And that's the other thing. It'd be one thing if you're like thrown into it, but you all had this attitude like you knew better. I mean, really, yeah, wouldn't be monetized. It's not monetizable. Wouldn't be shareable if I said what I'm about to say. I think you ladies need to go away. And that's the politest way. And by go away, I mean, maybe Vlad the Impaler shows up, or maybe some other person of ill repute in history were to take you away and just maybe, poof, you just went away. But I think I speak for at least one generation of people where we had to sit there looking at you truly dumber, inferior HR bints, asking us the dumbest questions when we slaved our asses off, either through college or a trade or a profession. And we had to humor you. And you truly, I can't emphasize that enough. The word is inferior. You inferior scum. For whatever reason, we're put in this, you got this like great position where you could just hold off everybody else. I don't know why you got the position of authority. I don't know why you got the position, but you did. And now that you're all on the way out, now HR is a joke. Now that the boomers are upset that they can be encapsulated with a hashtag called OK Boomer. Now HR is totally encapsulated with Karen, and that's where you deserve to be. So again, I think I speak for an entire generation of people. The best we can say about you is we're glad you're gone. And I don't think, I know I can't say what most people think about you and would like to say about on this platform because YouTube has censors. We'd say much, 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 much worse things. All right. So let's start with that. You're like the tax collectors in the biblical days. I think even tax collectors had an understanding, like, we got to pay our taxes, The centurions aren't going to protect us from the barbarians for free. I think there was you ladies, predominantly ladies, were just a parasite, a big, huge parasite on society. And I'm glad that your profession has been besmirched, defunded, not defunded, what's the word I'm like, deauthoritized. Everybody knows that HR is a joke, and shut up and go do an employment law. So there you go. That's the politest. That is the politest way I can put it. Now, to get to the guy's question, All the HR and then CSR and diversity. That's enough. It's all affirmative action hiring. You're not real. You're not critical. I know all you gals, you're strong, independent women, don't need no. You're completely dependent on charity. No corporation, no entity needs HR or CSR or anything like that. So we'll lump you all there. What would they do for a living? I'll be honest. Here's the short answer, buddy. They're gonna. Well, hang on. Let's split it. We have to split. Okay. We're going to split it based on the type of HR lady, but it's all going to combine to the same point. It depends if they're hot or not. If they're not hot, which is somewhat common in HR, but there's some hot HR ladies because, I don't want to do accounting. That's a hard math involved business in it. So there's like some hot HR chicks and there's not hot HR chicks. The hot HR chicks, they would suck dick. Period. End of discussion. That's all and if they didn't, because strong, and they still have this lip, they'd either be killed or they'd be, being serious, like if the warlords took over and there's a post-apocalyptic, ain't no cops, I have a master's degree in it. That would not last at all. It'd be like you would be a sex slave. That's what you would be like if you're hot. If you're not hot, you're the stereotypical Karen from HR, you'd be dead. So to answer the client's question, they'd either be turned into sex slaves or they'd be killed. And if the sex slave gave the slightest bit of guff, they'd also be killed or beaten until that's what it would be. That's what it would be. But I could predict or see, or you intended your question very well. What would they do? They do nothing. You know the answer. They do nothing. Because HR or CSR, diversity, whatever, these are not real professions or trades. They're not real skills. Employment law is, payroll is, there's certainly a call for that. But the HR lady taking it, no. They would be the first you'd either be in chains as a sex slave, or if you were ugly, you'd be killed. And if you gave them the slightest bit of guff, don't care how, you'd be killed. Because here's the truth. HR has no value. It doesn't offer any value. It's a negative value. And matter of fact, if there'd be some barbarian and he'd remember back in 2005 when he had to talk to Karen in HR, he probably out of principle would just off you. Because again, I don't know if I can emphasize this enough. HR offers nothing of value to society. It is even damaging to society because it obstructs the efficient allocation of labor. That's basically it. The origins, why, I know there's a lot, okay, affirmative action, women got to go somewhere. Put them in the least damaging position. I don't know why they put them in HR or marketing. You got to hire the right people. Your people are, in a literal sense, your people are your best asset, but I've long abandoned corporate America. But that's what would happen. In a post-apocalyptic world, HR gals, CSI, there wouldn't be, no. They'd be dead. They'd be sex slaves or dead. They'd be sucking dick or they're dead. And I really want to convey that to all the HR, because deep down, I think they know, it's like the boomers, they know their place now in life is to just shut the F up and die. I think HR ladies know the same thing. You're worthless. The day of the HR ladies, that was a fun bubble you had in the late 90s and the early aughts. Now shut the F up and get the F out of our face. It's been 8 years since I had a answer to a boss, 8 years since I had set an alarm, but it's been 10 since I dealt with an HR lady. And that was where I'm like, oh, I went in for an interview. I'm like, we're going to have you talk to HR. And that was not part. I'm like, what? I'm like, no. I'm not interviewing with, and they were like shocked, like, what? I was like, I don't interview with HR. You either have me talk to the hiring manager and we deal with this as adults or not. I'm not talking to HR. I didn't get the job in the interview. I said, okay, that's fine. Well, you have the interview. I'm like, okay, no, I'm no longer interested in this position. And they're like, they were suburbanite white people that were shocked to be told no. I'm like, okay, I'm not interested. But yeah, no, I mean HR, and I have no problem. I could go on for hours ripping apart HR because of just what vile. It's not that you're inferior. Nobody. Hey, there's a Bell distribution curve on everything, every trait, every variable of every human. All right. So you're going to have inferior people and superior people. You could have intelligence, you could have athletic ability, you could have math, you could have reading, programming, welding, trades. So I have no problem using the words inferior, superior, because it all depends on the context. But in terms of like human caliber and morality, HR ladies are inferior. HR people are inferior. And the reason I have no problem making that moral judgment is because of the hypocrisy and attitude and the power hungriness you HR bins had. You thought you were better. And you could just tell. You could smell it. You could cut it with a knife. If you were like, oh yeah, what did you have? Okay, whatever. Fine, that would have been, no. You all thought you were something special. Now you're over. It's done. The time of the HR lady is over. The time of the affirmative action hire is here. Now, what are you going to do? What does it matter? You just got your checklist. Are you this disadvantaged group or not? Oh, okay, here's your job. I mean, what does an HR gal do now? Can people major in HR now? Is that a thing? Oh, let's get to the super chats real quick. I don't mean to sound so arrogant. Oh, there's super chats. I saw there were super chats, and I don't ever mean to take you guys for granted. I know. Okay. Kit. No, I don't think we've had Kit before. 2 British pounds. At this stage, I almost want the apocalypse burned. Yeah, I do too. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Here's another. Can I tell you more about HR and how much I hate them? There was only one gal in HR that I met, and I dated. I can't even say date. I went on one date with her, and she was cool. She was totally cool. But every other gal I've ever met in HR, I knew on a personal level or in a tangential level, all mental problems, crying themselves to sleep, on drugs, alcoholics. They were effing insane. And it's kind of like therapists, the psychologists. Most psychologists are effed in the head. They are. And you're going to a mentally ill person to consult you about becoming mentally healthy. It's the same thing with HR. You are talking to mentally ill, predominantly women. And they could not, I always got a kick out of the HR ladies is their dating lives, their love lives were horrible. They couldn't pick good men to date. So I always ask, well, then how can you pick good men or women to work? And the answer is you can't, because they're like, let me do down there. Oh, I think she'll be great. Honestly, HR ladies, just go away. And that's the politest way I can put it. I'd tell you to do something else. And deep down inside, that's what you should do. But I can't, because the way we get to the sense is not nice. And for all of you out there, men or women, and the millennials got this down. There's one good thing. The millennials have told the boomers the F off. But you don't just you refuse to deal with HR. I'm not interviewing with HR. There's no screening interview. Do you want me? Yes or no? We had that position not too long ago. Much as you millennials may hate it, under Trump's economy, unemployment was at 3% and change. That's very, very low. Now we have the virus going around, so we're back to normal, where beggars can't be choosers. But if we ever get back to that low unemployment rate again, and corporations are begging, just you want change, say no. I'm not interviewing with HR. I'm not talking to Karen from HR to ask about witchcraft questions. Ernest Bass. I know where that's from, man. That's the Andy Griffith show. You got some rocks? If you're not a minority or female, good luck with HR. Yeah, you don't deal with, it doesn't have to do with HR. Even if you're a black dude or a Latina, you don't deal with HR. The people that tune into this show are intellectually independent-minded people, and we are better people. It doesn't matter if you're black or if Hispanic. It doesn't matter, male, it doesn't matter. You're just a person that has self-respect. And everybody of every type and stripe of human species out there, you just say F no, because it's self-respect. Do you nail Nails into your thigh? No, you don't. Well, then you refuse to interview with HR. Do you pour bleach into your eye? No, well, then you don't interview with HR. HR is an insult. Well, we have to have you talk to HR. No, and it's a perfect sign. Like, it is like dating a gal who believes in the astrology. Well, what's your sign? Well, I'm a Scorpio. Oh, I don't do well with the Scorpios. Well, maybe I don't want to date you. It's this because it's like corporations believing in astrology. We have this witch, and she's going to predict whether or not this person will be well here, asking her stew as she boils over with pot of newt and leg of spider. Ooh, I looked into my crystal ball, and Aaron Clary would not be a team player. Ooh. It's like, oh yeah. So I see you got a shaman, you got a witch doctor, and she's going to predict whether or not, yeah, I don't want to work for your firm. Whoever is in charge, whoever made that decision, because all the other people are going to be psychopaths as well. No, not for me. Terribly sorry. Get me my Trump bucks and unemployment. David Frost, $5. Worked as a courtesy clerk for Kroger and a lifeguard for a city of Tempe. Both jobs were complete BS. My bosses were suck-ups and coworkers were stupid. Every job sucks, David. You're 16 years old. Get used to it. Get used to it. Time is... Oh, here we go. Phil Henry, $5. €5. This horror made me quit HR. They hated competence. Yeah, I know a couple guys who worked in HR and they left. And it's exactly what you think it is. It's gossip, female, chitter chatter, cankles, cackling women. You just leave. I'm sorry, ladies. You made it. You made the stereotype come true. You're a bunch of Karens. That's what you are. We're not going to ignore 30 years of experience talking to you broads. David, $5. Kroger is supposedly one of the best Fortune 500 companies in terms of treating me. I had nightmares about HR bosses. What a joke. Well, you're probably a low rank nothing. It gets better when, hey, Dave, major in STEM so you never have to deal with HR. There's a story a buddy of mine was telling. He worked on the oil rigs, and he needed to get, I think, not a low level, but a basic level of mechanic or pump administrator. And he was not getting the guys he needed. And this was when it was booming in the Bakken. He's like, where are these? I mean, okay, I know labor's tight, but I've offered. He found out there was an HR lady going through her little matrix. And they're like, oh, she was fired, gone. Give me that guy, give me that guy, give me that guy, give me that guy. Because she, oh my goodness, I'm just so important because I have my degree in HR. And oh, well, I don't care if there's a negative unemployment rate. I have a degree in HR and I know what I'm doing. Now, all you boys, get in line. Do you have a degree? Bachelor? I think it was even bachelor's degree preferred. And the guy's like, I need men who can operate pumps. Look at the effing number of hours and the effing number of years experience they got. It's so cute how you HR lady. I cannot say enough bad things for you. I cannot. And you know, you all think you're so smart and intelligent, and you know you're not. Al, for $2. Only good HR woman I knew was happily married 20 plus years. Every once in a while, you'll run into a good HR gal, but they're usually just doing the payroll and processing. I mean, there is a role for human resources. You got to like manage employees and make sure you're following employment law. Benefits and compensation is a legit professional. But the interviews, get that 24-year-old ditz out of my effing face right effing now. And no, I'm not going to work for you because you dare put a 24-year-old child who doesn't know anything about accounting, engineering, being a doctor, surgery, finance, Get that child out of my effing face. And who the F are you, by the way, to dare waste my time talking to this child? Nonstop Dre. HR is a real college major, laughing out loud. Enjoyed the show. Yeah, it was. I remember at the Carlson School of Management, all the girls were majoring in HR. I wonder where they are now, because you can't have that many witches positioning, keeping all the labor, all the good talent away, shooting them and mowing them down. Because they didn't wear the right shoe. Going through the rest of the super chats here. I think Cappy's going to have himself a nice night off. A nonstop trade, $2. $2. The dumb question: why do you want to work here? Guys, and ladies, the answer to that is because you're going to pay me. And if they ever ask you that question, honestly, you say, because you're going to pay me. And answer it like that, because you're going to pay me. Well, because I need to eat. What do you mean? Why do I want? All jobs are horrible. I'm going to give you finite bits of my life I'm never getting back, and you're going to give me money so I might support myself. Is that too literal for you? Don't say that. Yeah, it's still. See, if I was interviewing, he's like, because you're going to pay me. I'd be like, you're hired. All right, you're on our team. Hang on. Pinoid News for $5. Since I became a truck driver, I only had one interview. Oh, Whole Foods, and I told them to F off and went elsewhere. We never interviewed. Become a truck. I only wanted Whole Foods, and I told them to F off and went elsewhere. Never. Yeah, Whole Foods. I can't imagine that's going to be a fun time. What do you think about environmentalism? What's your views politically? F off. It's none of your business. Are you going to watch I remember, guys, this wasn't too long ago. HR bins were asking for your Facebook username and login. They were. Because they thought that was their personal business. They thought they were entitled. Do you see how psychopathic they are? HR ladies, you could go away. And by go away, I mean, go away. Nobody likes you. Even you don't like you. It'd be a shame if you just never were to be seen again. I don't know how that would. Maybe go for a really, really, really long hike in the north of Canada. Hike to the North Pole. Just go away. Beyond the pale for $5. Look at all this money I'm making, HR ladies. I'm making more money than you girls do in a month in one day of podcasting here with super chats. People hate you that much. We should do like a hate HR. Like, see how much money we can. Man makes $1 million in how much in HR hate. Hate HR hashtag. The competent man are always good, reliable, competent man for $2. Second dumbest question. Why are you leaving your current job? Because they don't pay enough. And they lied to me. That's what if it would be honest, they lied to me about the job duties. My boss is a psychopath. And the coworkers are a pain in the ass. Oh, is that it? Are we caught up? We caught up. David Frost, our good buddy David Frost. Andre's an HR lady. She's miserable. Oh yeah. No, all these HR ladies they're all psychopaths. They're all mental. All on antidepressants. All of them. You know, hey, for fun, you don't believe me? Go to LinkedIn, search HR or human resources or what do they call it? Human industrial, HRIR, whatever. In the day, it was called personnel. I don't know why that was so degrading. Like, human resources. Is that it? All right, there we go. Thanks. Thank you. By the way, thank you to the client for asking me just a nice, good old fastball over the plate. I could hit it out of the park. I like those questions. Appreciate it very much. That's it. HR ladies, hey, go swim across the Pacific. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.